Rick James, a legendary figure in R&B, soul, and rock and roll, accumulated considerable wealth throughout his distinguished career. His net worth, primarily derived from music royalties, concert tours, and business ventures, was notably high. Living up to his iconic status, Rick James resided in a lavish home equipped with opulent amenities. He also had a keen passion for cars, owning an impressive collection that showcased his taste for luxury and classic automobiles. Rick James faced his own struggles in the shadows, grappling with his identity in a society fraught with challenges. He navigated a path that challenged conventions and defied expectations. Despite his success and affluent lifestyle, Rick James' death in 2004 left a significant void in the music industry. His fans continue to mourn the loss of a true legend whose influence still echoes across generations. For further details, please refer to the accompanying video. James Ambrose Johnson Jr., known professionally as Rick James, was born on February 4th, 1948 in Buffalo, New York. He was the third of 8 children in a family that faced significant financial challenges. His father, James Ambrose Johnson Sr., was an auto worker who abandoned the family when Rick was just 10 years old. His mother, Mabel Gladden, worked as a dancer and later as a numbers runner to support the family. Rick grew up in a musical household. His mother's work in the entertainment industry and his exposure to the vibrant music scene in Buffalo had a profound influence on him. His mother often brought him to the clubs where she worked, and it was there that he was exposed to a variety of musical styles, including jazz, blues, and R&B. James's early musical experiences also included singing in the church choir. This involvement helped him develop his vocal skills and foster a love for performance. James's teenage years were marked by rebellion and legal troubles. He dropped out of high school and joined the U.S. Naval Reserve at the age of 15 to avoid being drafted into the Army. However, his tenure in the Naval Reserve was short-lived, as he went AWOL, absent without leave, to pursue a career in music. He eventually fled to Canada to escape military authorities. In Toronto, Canada, James began his professional music career. He joined a band called the Mina Birds, which included future rock legends Neil Young and Bruce Palmer. The band was signed to Motown Records and even recorded some tracks. However, their success was cut short when James' fugitive status was discovered, leading to his arrest and imprisonment for desertion. After serving time in prison, James returned to music with a renewed determination. He continued to write songs and perform, moving between Toronto, Detroit, and Los Angeles. During this period, he collaborated with various musicians and explored different styles, honing his craft and developing his unique blend of funk, soul, and rock. In the early 1970s, James returned to Buffalo and formed several bands, including Salt and Pepper and Cocaine, and later the Stone City Band. These groups allowed him to experiment with his musical style and build a local following. James eventually returned to Motown Records, this time under his stage name, Rick James. He signed a solo deal and began working on his debut album. In the mid-1970s, Rick James returned to Motown Records, this time as a solo artist. He formed the Stone City Band and began working on his debut album, combining elements of funk, soul, rock, and punk to create a distinctive sound. In 1978, James released his debut album, Come Get It. The album was a commercial success, driven by the hit singles You and I and Mary Jane. Both songs showcased James' innovative blend of funk rhythms, catchy melodies, and his charismatic vocal style. You and I reached number 1 on the R&B charts, while Mary Jane became a cult favorite. particularly for its smooth groove and candid lyrics about marijuana. Following his successful debut, James released Bustin' Out of L7 in 1979. The album continued to build his reputation, with hits like the title track, Bustin' Out on Funk, and High on Your Love Suite, One Mo Hit of Your Love. These tracks further established his position in the funk and R&B genres. Rick James' breakthrough came when he released Street Songs in 1981. The album was a massive success, both commercially and critically. It features some of his most iconic tracks, including Super Freak. This song became one of James' biggest hits, known for its infectious bass line and playful lyrics. It crossed over to mainstream pop charts and even became a staple in funk music. Give It To Me Baby, another hit single, showcased James's ability to blend funk with pop sensibilities, making it a dance floor favorite. Ghetto Life and Fire and Desire, a duet with Tina Marie. These tracks displayed James' versatility, from raw street narratives to soulful ballads. Throughout the early 1980s, Rick James continued to dominate the R&B and funk scenes. His flamboyant style, both in music and fashion, earned him the nickname the King of Punk Funk. He was known for his energetic performances and charismatic persona, which resonated with a wide audience. In addition to his solo success, James played a significant role in launching the careers of other artists. He discovered and mentored Tina Marie, helping her achieve success with hits like Lover Girl and Square Biz. His influence extended beyond his own music, impacting the sound and direction of R&B and funk in the 1980s. Despite his professional success, Rick James faced numerous personal challenges, including struggles with drug addiction and legal issues. These issues began to overshadow his career in the mid-1980s and contributed to a decline in his commercial success. Still, James remained a king in his own rights, but as many entertainers in showbiz, he developed a serious addiction to drugs. The addiction was the beginning of his downfall, among other vices. He got diagnosed with diabetes and suffered a stroke in 1997, which ended his career. By then, he was living with a pacemaker and barely functioning with good health. On August 6, 2004, Rick James died from pulmonary and cardiac failure in his Burbank, California home. The news was sad and heartbreaking to his many fans. It was later discovered that his drug abuse had played a significant role in the failure of his organs. 10 different drugs were found in his system after an autopsy was conducted. It was tragic that the sweet, bright star from Buffalo, New York, had been infected by the ravaging disease that is drug addiction. His fans would remember him for the beautiful music that he gave them. Rick James earned his first and only Grammy Award as a co-author, but the following years proved challenging. His drug addiction escalated, leading to notorious behavior that resulted in legal troubles and a 2-year prison sentence. Despite these issues, he attempted a comeback with a 1997 tour, only to suffer a stroke that largely ended his performing career. Rick James' influence persisted in the music industry, particularly within the bustling hip-hop scene. His songs provided the foundation for countless tracks by prominent artists such as MC Hammer, Jay-Z, Jennifer Lopez, Mary J. Blige, Busta Rhymes, Dr. Dre, Coolio, Chris Cross, EPMD, DJ Jazzy Jeff, and the Fresh Prince, Will Smith, Maya, DJ Quick, Keith Murray, and Africa Bambaataa. In the 21st century, James began to rehabilitate his reputation. the release of a sprawling 2-disc anthology in 2002 showcased the breadth of his work. He also appeared on Chappelle's Show in 2003, humorously lampooning his superstar persona and coining the ubiquitous catchphrase, "I'm Rick James, bitch." The final studio effort was a collaboration with Tina Marie for her 2004 album. Over the years, there have been rumors and speculation about Rick James' sexual orientation, often fueled by his flamboyant stage persona and fashion choices. However, there is no concrete evidence to suggest that he identified as gay or bisexual, and these rumors seem to stem more from societal stereotypes than substantial facts. Who was Rick James' wife? Rick James is one of the biggest names of the 70s and early 80s funk music, having penned hits like Fire and Desire, Give It To Me Baby, and of course, Super Freak. But in addition to his raw talent, Rick also had a substance abuse problem that affected nearly all of his relationships. Rick's first wife was Kelly Messener. The two were married in 1974, but the union didn't last long, and the couple split just after 5 years later, in 1979. Although the marriage didn't last, Kelly always had nice things to say about Rick. Rick had an uncanny knack of endearing himself to people, she explained, per Citizen Freak. He was quite a charming guy, and for all his faults, he was one of the most unique individuals I've ever met. Rick's second wife was Tanya Hijazi. Tanya was 17 when she met Rick in 1989, and a year later, the two were an item. Rick had a true partner in Tanya, especially when it came to his proclivity for drugs and partying. And together, they were known to be wild. Rick James has a total of 4 children. The first 2 children Rick had, daughter Tyenza and son Rick James Jr., were with singer-songwriter Seville Morgan. He then had another son named Trey Ardesty James, but it's unclear who Trey's mom is. Rick had his youngest child, a son named Tasman, with wife Tanya in 1993. Not a lot is known about Rick's sons, Rick James Jr. and Trey, but his daughter Ty and youngest son Tasman haven't shied away from the spotlight. After his death in 2004, Rick's daughter Ty took over his estate and continues to manage it to this day. Ty has worked on a number of projects to keep her father's legacy alive. While Ty has spoken about how difficult it was to grow up with a father who struggled with addiction, she also described Rick as a wonderful and protective dad. It was Rick who first introduced Ty to music, but she says he discouraged her from pursuing a career in the industry because of the many dangers and temptations it offers. But Rick's youngest, Tasman, is following in his father's footsteps. The young man is an up-and-coming rapper, writer, and producer. Taz has even referred to himself as the new Rick James, so he clearly has aspirations to make it big in the music biz. Time will tell if he does. Among the 4, Ty took over Rick's estate after his death in 2004. She worked on projects to keep his legacy alive, including a film and a stage musical, but remained mum about who played her father in these projects. She said, "The exact person that needs to play him has pretty much agreed to do it." Rick James' abandoned house for sale in Hollywood Hills. A Hollywood Hills home with ties to late musician Rick James and actress Amy Aspect, among others, is for sale in Hollywood Hills at $5.995 million. Found above Studio City, just off Laurel Canyon Boulevard, the 1950s traditional was home to James during the late 1980s and sold for $1.06 million in 1991. Yazbek, known for her roles in Problem Child, 1990, and Robin Hood Men in Tights 1993, came to own the home in 2006 and later sold the property to film director Mark Buntsman in 2009 for $1.56 million. Late actor Mickey Rooney was also a former occupant, the property listings noted. Entering through a gated drive, the two-story home centers on wide views of the mountains and downtown cityscape. Large formal areas replete with built-ins, hardwood flooring, and detailed molding highlight the 7,555 square feet of living space. Other spaces include a chef's kitchen, a great room, an office, 6 bedrooms, and 7.5 bathrooms. The second-floor master suite is outfitted with a steam shower, soaking tub, and private balcony. Bifolding doors open to landscaped grounds containing a lagoon-style pool and spa, an entertainer's patio, a koi pond, and an outdoor kitchen with a pizza oven. Elsewhere is a cottage-style guest house and a pool house with a gym and a sauna. Lee Ziff and Stephanie Cacandes of Keller Williams Beverly Hills are the listing agents.